did Voldemort make a secret final Horcrux? Hey, brother! Okay, let's do some Horcrux math. Voldemort is trying to get to a 7-part soul, right? And Dumbledore's theory is that upon killing Harry as a baby, Voldemort was going to use that death to make his final Horcrux, not just eliminating his biggest threat, but also making himself truly immortal at the same time. It's very poetic, as you know, Voldemort is often prone to be.
In shadows deep, where serpents creep, I plot the end of Potter's sleep. His scar shall fade, his breath shall still, for I alone possess the will.
And for those of you wondering, no, that was not a canon poem, but I feel it in my heart that Voldemort was partial to an AABB rhyme structure. Obviously, though, this plan does not work out for him because the sacrificial protection from Lily kicks in and Voldemort is blasted into his astral mist form. Unbeknownst to him, though, part of the plan does work out because while he may have been reduced to vapor, he does end up with a 7-part soul because part of his soul latches onto Harry, who himself becomes the 7th Horcrux. So at that point, Voldemort would have the diary, locket, ring, diadem, cup, and Harry all acting as Horcruxes for him, plus Voldemort Prime, and together they add up to 7 pieces of soul. However, Voldemort is only aware of 6 because he doesn't know Harry is a Horcrux. We all good on that math? We paid the budget. Then in Chamber of Secrets, Lucius gives Ginny the diary and yada yada yada. Harry destroys the diary, so now we're down to 6 total pieces of soul and 5 Horcruxes, but Voldemort still doesn't know about Harry. So from his point of view, there are 5 pieces of soul and 4 Horcruxes. Then fast forward to Goblet of Fire, where Voldemort is unaware yet of the diary destruction because he won't find out about that until Lucius reports it to him. Voldemort kills Frank Bryce and uses that murder to turn Nagini into a Horcrux. So now he's back up to 7 pieces of soul and 6 Horcruxes. So at that moment, from his point of view, he should be at his goal, a 7-piece soul. He should have Voldemort Prime plus the diary, ring, locket, diadem, cup, and Nagini. And the totally ironic thing here is that he is correct about the total number of pieces despite doing the math wrong, because at that point, he doesn't know about Harry being a Horcrux or the diary being destroyed. But either way, he thinks he has achieved the perfect, most powerful number of a 7-part soul. All he needs is to get his body back and he'll be unstoppable. And then later that year, that very thing happens. Voldemort gets his body back and all of his plans seem to finally be coming together. Minus, that whole twin chorus thing, which is another outlet I'm sure was wonderful for his poetry.
The phoenix feather, a mocking jest, a mirror to my very best. Why must magic twist and twine when all I seek is to be divine?
Seriously though, the guy can rhyme. Be sure to keep a lookout for his memoir, Timeless Rhymes, Endless Times, Immortality, Poetry, and Snakes by T.M. Riddle. Of course, we, the reader, know that his plans are not coming together the way Voldemort thinks because one of his Horcruxes, the diary, was already destroyed. And since Voldemort doesn't know Harry is a Horcrux, shouldn't he have tried to make another Horcrux after Lucius tells him the truth about the diary? I mean, he spends half the 7th book looking for the Elder Wand to give him the edge over Harry, but doesn't consider his original Horcrux plan of a 7-part soul to make him stronger? What is he waiting for? Or is it possible he did successfully make another Horcrux, which I know feels impossible since he does die at the end, and yet,
Hey, brother!
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I would have paid money to have been in the room when Lucius was telling Voldemort about the diary. My lord, it is wonderful to see you returned. Oh, how I have missed the old days. But, well, kind of a funny story. Do you remember that old book of yours you lent me?
My diary, yes, Lucius. I told you to guard it with your very life, did I not?
And guard it I did for 11 years, but I thought I'd maybe take it upon myself to purge the school of Muggleborns, like you said it would. You said that.
A cunning plan, Lucius. And were you successful? How many Muggleborns were attacked and killed?
4? And a cat. and a ghost. So, you know.
Impressive, Lucius. I myself only killed a single muggle boy.
Dead, yes. Well, technically petrified for a little while. And then, they did all make full recoveries.
And the diary?
Ah, yes, I have it right here, my lord. Dumbledore did give it back to me right afterwards. Slightly damaged, but just an old book, right? Just an old book.
Lucius, I have a mind to set the basilisk on you myself, show you how it's really done.
Yes, funny you should mention the basilisk. It is still there. Although it did get a weensy bit just stabbed right in the brain, so.
By who?
You know, who did it? I heard a rumor that it was the Potter boy.
Lucius, I'm gonna be real with you. This isn't going well for you.
Poor Lucius. But did anyone else think he looked really good with a mustache? I mean, something to keep in mind for the reboot, just saying. But this feels like a great moment to take a pause to tell you about today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Because while Lucius was straight up not doing enough, that is not the case for the rest of us. Even if it can sometimes feel like it. Life is hectic. There is no doubt about it, whether you're in school, the early stages of your career, taking a big step romantically, like becoming a parent, the list goes on. And each of us has daily stressors that can add up, making it feel hard to feel like you've ever got time for yourself. Just want to wake up and drink my coffee and do the Wordle at 5:30 in the morning. You'd think there'd be alone time, but no, that's when the kids are awake. Plural. This is when establishing some non-negotiable self-care tactics is more vital than ever, and for me, one of those methods is therapy. In fact, here at Super Carlin Brothers, we have a no questions asked approval process for time off to take therapy appointments. It's something we value highly and know it makes a difference in the lives of ourselves and our team. And for me, therapy has been so vital to juggling my own busy life. Like, while it can sometimes seem frivolous to make time for a hobby when there's so much going on, I've discovered that taking that time actually lifts my mood and makes me more effective everywhere else. Guys, I need to play Pokemon cards for us. So never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/super today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/super. Link is in the description down below. Anyway, point is that upon learning this information, by Voldemort's math, he should again be down a piece of soul. Because unaware of Harry, he'd just be at a 6-part soul. Prime, Cup, Locket, Diadem, Ring, and Nagini. So shouldn't he be trying to make another Horcrux to try and finally get to the 7-part soul he always wanted? It almost seems crazy to me that he doesn't, because this was his plan the whole time. Which, for the record, it's actually a terrible plan, because not only does having a 7-part soul not make him more powerful, but ironically, the moment he actually has a 7-part soul, which would be the moment he fails to kill Harry, is also the very moment he becomes his absolute weakest. And weirdly, in that way, maybe 7 is the most powerfully magical number. It just so happens that it's working against him in that moment. Like, maybe he does unleash the power of 7, but 7 hates dark magic or something. I don't know, I just really love that bit of irony. But either way, you might think the reason he doesn't bother with making another Horcrux is the same reason as the first time. He's waiting to kill Harry to make his death the final Horcrux. Except that line of reasoning doesn't really work, because when he kills Frank Bryce, he believes that is the final Horcrux and has clearly decided it doesn't matter whether it's Harry or not. But I suppose that upon learning he is only at 6 Horcruxes and realizes Harry is still alive anyway, he could interpret it as fate favoring Lord Voldemort or whatever, and opens the door once more for Harry's death to be the 7th Horcrux. So then yes, he is waiting to kill Harry once more, and yet even that doesn't super work out as a line of reasoning, because guess what? At one point, he does think he has killed Harry in the forest. And yet, he does not take the opportunity to make a Horcrux in that moment. Which I suppose, to be fair, we don't know for sure that you have to make a Horcrux like right away. It's possible he does plan on doing that later, like, in the privacy of his poetry den or something, rather than in a crowd of Death Eaters who he doesn't actually want knowing he is using Horcruxes. Or the other reason he might not want to do it in that moment is that by now he's aware that the diary, ring, locket, cup, and possibly the diadem have all been destroyed. So maybe this is just like a whole new project he has to start over from, and like, I'll do it later.
No need to start doing chores right here in the woods when there's a victory march to lead, am I right?
Or it could be that he doesn't feel the need to make a 7th one because he already did. Dun, dun, dun. But wait, if he made another Horcrux, wouldn't that mean he couldn't have died at the end? Like Harry couldn't have finished him off? Well, it would mean that, unless that Horcrux was also destroyed. But if you're wondering, like, wait a minute, are you saying that Voldemort made another secret Horcrux and then Harry accidentally destroyed it after he spent half a book camping because of this exact problem? So glad you asked. All right, so we have long theorized on this channel that on the night Voldemort was going to kill Harry as a baby, he must have had the final object with him to make his final Horcrux with, since Harry was going to be the final death. And that object was none other than the Sword of Gryffindor. If you want the full explanation, you can watch this video, but here's the short version. First, it would complete his set of Founder's objects, plus he'd be turning Godric's sword into a Horcrux in Godric's hometown, which is, very poetic, very Voldemort. He loves that. Plus, the sword has the handy ability to vanish. So after he falls, it would just disappear and no one would ever know he'd even had it. But if that was the object that Voldemort wanted to turn into a Horcrux, imagine what great news it would have been when he realizes that not only does he need to make one more Horcrux, but then he gets a letter from Snape, and Snape's all like, "I've got it right here in Dumbledore's office, my lord." I mean, how perfect, because then he could swiftly make another kill and turn the final Founder's object into his final Horcrux and then hide it in the Lestrange vault until like his whole Elder Wand side quest is done and he can put like more proper protection around it. And the sword would be a great Horcrux because he wouldn't even need to add extra defensive magic to it like he does for the locket or the ring or the diadem, because what is anyone gonna do to the sword? Anything you try to use to kill it will just make it stronger. But here's the catch. That sword, the one he puts in the Lestrange family vault, is a fake. So Voldemort gets it, turns the fake sword into a Horcrux, and assuming it doesn't need protection, doesn't put protection on it. But wait, I hear you saying, how does Voldemort die at the end if Harry doesn't know to destroy the fake sword while he's in the Lestrange family vault? Well, here's the great thing. He doesn't even need to know about it, because instead, after accidentally activating the Gemino and Flagrante curses inside the vault, the ones that make it fill up with molten treasure, the fake sword is just made of regular metal with no protection on it. So it just melts and the Horcrux is destroyed. Whoopsies. It would also explain why after Voldemort realizes Harry is hunting Horcruxes, he doesn't think about the location of the sword, because he either assumes that Harry knew the sword was a Horcrux as well and took it, or realizes that it was a fake because he goes and inspects the vault and sees that it too was destroyed. I mean, honestly, it all fits really well. Like, it's all there to have just happened without any of us realizing it. I mean, even asking Bellatrix to hide something for him. The only other objects we know he asks people to do this with are Horcruxes. So what do you think? Did he have a secret last Horcrux that just accidentally got destroyed? Also, you might have done some math here and you might still be wondering about the whole 7-part soul thing, because while yes, he actually had a 7-part soul after attacking baby Harry, that's when he's the weakest, you might have realized, didn't he technically also have a 7-part soul again after making Nagini a Horcrux? Like, was he in fact more powerful then? Well, you would be correct that at that point he does have a 7-part soul, but I don't think that mattered, because even though there are 7 parts, at that point the soul has still been split into 8 total parts. One was just destroyed with the diary. So at that part it's more like 7 out of 8, not 7 hole. Guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. Don't forget to leave a like on it if you haven't already, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Harry Potter content from us. But if you want a lot more, I totally recommend you go check out our podcast, Through the Griffin Door. It is a chapter by chapter read through with a nearly sentence by sentence analysis by me and Ben. It is super fun. We are presently about halfway through Prisoner of Azkaban. Hope you'll go check it out. You can click like right here to go do that. But otherwise, Ben, until next time, I will see you in another life, brother.